People online wrote under her comments that her hair looked a mess. They told her that her edges should have been laid. But then we also, in the palm-colored arena, they love a messy bun. The girls love a messy bun. The girls love ooh, gook. They can go to job interviews with a messy bun. They can go to dates with a messy bun. They can be the president with a messy bun. But God forbid, a girl who has already straightened her hair, which takes hours, to slick, to put it in a ponytail, to be told by people on the internet that her hair is nappy, we're not well. We are not well right now.
Sometimes it don't make no sense. Does it really have to? There is nothing
Hi, welcome to Mayowa's World. Hi everyone, welcome to Mayowa's World. My name is Mayowa, and today we are discussing hair. I have just done an apple cider vinegar rinse, which I haven't done in a while, like in a couple months. Yeah, so I did an apple cider vinegar rinse and it was really nice. When I finished, I took these photos of myself and I'm gonna show y'all, and I actually love these photos so much. So today's topic is actually inspired by my comments under this video. But somebody called Princess wrote, "Can you talk about Black women on Twitter calling Simone Biles nappy-headed and dragging her for not having laid edges at her wedding?" So Simone, for her wedding, she's married to this guy called Jonathan. I don't know anything. I'm so sorry. I don't know sports or anything. But they look cute together, and she has her hair like in an up ponytail with, I'm guessing, an attachment at the end. Her hair, from my perception, looks either like it's permed, relaxed, or like blow dried and straightened. To me, it looks permed. I don't know. So people online wrote under her comments that her hair looked a mess. They told her that her edges should have been laid. Which brings me to something that I have been talking about for a minute, y'all. I've been having so many premonitions. Yeah, I'm gonna call it that. Premonitions about the toxicity of laid edges and how people don't feel like your hair is done unless your edges are laid, and how just the lack of accepting that not everyone's hair type can lay down, right? That's also just one of the biggest things. Everyone is determined to find the right gel, the most powerful gel. It doesn't matter how dangerous it is, right? Because what happened with that one girl who put chemical in her hair, gorilla, I don't know. That one girl who put that in her hair and her hair wasn't moving. This is all feeding into the obsession of having laid edges, right? To the point where someone is literally having to undergo procedure and surgery just to appear like they have laid edges. Wish that we can look at this as instead of targeting the individual who chooses to comply to these standards, I wish we could really target it to the system that is actually so sickening that it's forcing everyone to feel like their hair needs to be done and their edges need to be laid. Simone, what I thought was interesting about this whole thing is, I have freeform locks, so my hair naturally just grows in this way. And I forgot that people who have perms and people who have their hair straightened, like Black women who have their hair straightened, are still called nappy-headed. And it really blew my mind because I'm like, okay, I get called nappy-headed, right? Because my hair isn't chemical. I don't have any chemicals in my hair. I don't have any, this is my natural hair texture. So, but even with Simone straightening her hair, right? And even with every single strand being super straight, it's still considered nappy. And a lot of that is based off of featurism and texturism, featurism, texturism, and colorism, because all three of these factors really matter when we're talking about Blackness. We really have to address all three because you find Blackness is determined by these three features. Blackness is determined by the color of your skin, texture of your hair, and the features that you have, right? So because Simone Biles is a dark-skinned woman, she is held to a higher standard of looking presentable than any other person, right? So to the point where if she chooses to not engage with one element of, acceptable hair textures or acceptable hair types, her hair is now deemed nappy-headed, right? And people are upset with her for not wanting to put the effort forward, and essentially just wanting her to conform. And I find it to be so annoying because why is that considered, why is her hair considered nappy headed? But then we also, in the palm colored arena, they love a messy bun. The girls love a messy bun. The girls love ooh, gook. They can go to job interviews with a messy bun. They can go to dates with a messy bun. They can be the president with a messy bun. But God forbid, a girl who has already straightened her hair, which takes hours, a girl that has already blow dried her hair, combed it, the pain of her scalp, of having something just go through it, to slick, to put it in a ponytail, to be told by people on the internet that her hair is nappy, we're not well. We are not well right now. Black women are never allowed to be messy. So I have a solution. I don't think people are gonna like my solution, but the only way that we can move forward in a texturist society is if we embrace messiness in Black culture, right? Like, as Black people, the obsession with wanting to prove that we are smart, wanting to prove that we are beautiful, wanting to prove that we have long hair, wanting to prove that our hair can be laid, wanting to prove that our hair can look good, wanting to prove that we're clean. This is a freaking confinement, right? Because even if we remove whiteness from Black culture, like even if we were to somehow strip it and we were only amongst each other, we would still continue and perpetuate forms of harm and forms of anti-Blackness amongst each other. So like making like our own community, like if we cannot heal these things in our own community, like there is no chance, there's no chance. There are going to have to be people that will just wear their hair as it naturally grows. The only way that things can get better for us is that if the person who has the most marginalized identity is celebrated and like poured into and made to feel beautiful, or like made to feel valuable, because also I'm trying to unlearn like worth coming from beauty, but only when they can feel really valuable and secure and safe can anything change. So we literally have to center the edges that aren't laid, the kinky hair that is the kinkiest hair type, the hair that is shorter and shortest. And even within having freeform locks, like sometimes I feel like people, because my hair is very big, I have very big and I have very kinky hair, and that like rubs people some way somehow. Like all those hair types that is we're trying to keep in the shadow of our society we have to have a light on, we have to pour into people like this. Every other race can have any kind of messy hairstyle, any kind of unkept hairstyle, any kind of like, you know, wild, or, you know, but for us, I feel like our realms of how we, like our realms of which hair type we find acceptable is so limited. Like we, even to the point where Black girls can try to have messy buns like white girls. Like we have the messy bun. I used to love doing that. When I had a weave, I used to try to have a messy bun. And it's like, we are even aiming for like the messiest kind of like white women. And I just feel like until we can really embrace what messiness looks like in ourselves, in our own culture, and not just try to always show the best side of ourselves, the neatest side of ourselves, we're not gonna really have liberation, which actually just means remove ourselves from respectability politics. The sooner we realize that we are in a losing game and we stop competing in a losing game, the better it is. Like, it's not going to come through like morphing people who have Eurocentric standards of beauty. Like, it's just, we're not going to have liberatory actions from centering people who are the closest to whiteness and Eurocentric standards of beauty. We're just not. It's only going to come from lifting up people who are dark skinned, who are fat, who are kinky headed, who are disabled. Like, only when we shine light there, like, is anything going to change. Because Simone looks freaking cute. And people kept saying, they were like, oh, all the unmarried women are attacking her. And I'm like, okay, I don't think that the gotcha moment should be like, oh, she's married and you're not. The gotcha moment is the texturism. And like, also sometimes I feel like people are like, oh, you see, it's Black women who want to attack Black women. And it's like, sure, like in this situation, yes, it's Black women attacking Black women, but Black men attack Black women, non-Blacks attack Black women. Like, it's almost like we have been like cut. And because we have been cut, we just keep cutting other people because we don't know how else to deal with the pain. We don't know how else to deal with the trauma. And there's not really that many spaces that we can like separate ourselves and heal from. Like, something that that I've been really thinking about, and I want to just try and like end this video on this thought process. I grew up in Atlanta. Having my hair texture here in Atlanta, I feel very comfortable. Like I feel like Black people here embrace me. I feel very like comfortable in my skin. Like I can really express myself. And at times when I was living in Nigeria, I felt like a lot of resistance to my hair texture because a lot of Nigerians have associated my hair texture with being demonic, because it's like the opposite of like you know, the colonialism makes it where people don't like my hair texture and like don't like people who have dada or like freeform locks like this. So when I was in Nigeria, I started to feel like an insecurity that I had never really felt before. I started to feel like I wanted to shrink myself, and I started to actually feel the pressures of like wanting to conform. And I was thinking about how interesting it was that when I was in Nigeria, I felt the pressure to want to conform, but when I'm in Atlanta, I didn't feel that same kind of pressure. And it comes down to the fact that when you're able to create a community where you feel affirmed in yourself, like no matter how big or how small, like the responsibility of healing becomes less on like me and it becomes more on my community. So like I don't think the solution is to tell me to become more confident. The solution I've realized is to surround myself in environments and in communities where I do feel affirmed. I've noticed that like, you know, we keep telling people like, just love yourself, just love yourself, just accept yourself, just keep fighting. And like, it's placing a lot of blame on the individual for being affected by the system that is very sick and very insidious and very like hurtful. And I feel like we should actually place the blame on the system and not the individual, and create environments where we are building up people. Like, you know, living in Atlanta, a lot of Black people will see me and just say some of the kindest things to me in like passing, and that makes me feel affirmed. And not saying that all your worth should come from what people say to you, but let's not act like how our society treats us doesn't also affect our self-worth. So if you see a kinky-headed person and you have a genuinely kind thing to say to them, this is the time to just go and like spread love, because I actually think that texturism is going to get worse before it's getting better in our own community. Yeah, I think that, you know, these things happen with Simone. People talk about it and then it's like it dies down, and then the next thing happens and it's like the same things. Like I feel like I haven't seen, like, we have been talking about texturism since I've been a kid, and I'm not seeing nuance, and we need the nuance. We need the like to really attack it, because it's actually like Simone's fine because like you know, we think Simone is fine because Simone has money, Simone has support, Simone maybe has a community, right? But we don't know about the people who don't have these things, and it shouldn't be required for you to have those things to feel loved in society. We need to pour love into people who are marginalized. Okay, before we get to the end, I got this necklace made. I'm so happy. I'm wearing nice jewelry. I have a very simple makeup look, but you know the drill. Send the love in the comments. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.